Hey, everybody, welcome back to I Know a Guy. I'm Anthony, and this is the podcast where connections thrive. Each episode, we spotlight inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals doing amazing things. Together, we'll grow your circle, spark collaborations, and discover new opportunities. Today, we're meeting Lion Fludd, a dynamic content creator and educator who helps aspiring speakers and creators master the art of video content through VCA Academy. With a passion for visual storytelling, Lion provides expert training in cinematography, editing, and digital marketing to equip his students for success in the fast-paced world of video production. How you doing today, Lion?
I'm excellent. I'm ready to go. Let's blow it up.
I was excited to have you on. We've had a couple conversations. We tried this once, and there was some issue, but now we got it fixed, and we're excited to have you back. So let's knock it out. There's people out there that need to know what you do. So starting off, where are you located? Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from sunny Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds better than Iowa today. It's about negative 20 here with wind chill as of this morning. So I'm a little jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for people that have never been there, if you have friends coming into town, where are you going? What are you doing? And what are you guys doing for dinner?
So the absolute thing we have to do is the tourist items because we're a big tourist area. So we go to the Broadway at the beach, which was a lot of great restaurants that give you the ability to sit and overlook the water and the beach as you eat. So that's one great experience. A lot of amusement parks, things for families and friends there. Um, Also, I'm going to take them to the locals beach, right, where it's not so crowded with all of the touristy stuff like that. So that's some place that we're going to eat. And then if I had to pick a particular restaurant or something to take them to, we have this kind of fusion restaurant that's located right on the beach that serves like some Jamaican food and some island food like that. So that's why I would take them at there.
That sounds like a good time. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So I recommend everybody go visit. So I got you. What can you tell us about what you do?
Oh, it took me a while to even kind of narrow down almost in one sentence what I do, right? Because you always want to feel like I could do so many different things. But what it comes down to now is I just teach people how to make money in virtual events, right? How to basically keep their audiences engaged more so that they pay attention. Because as my coach and mentor told me, is when people pay attention, people pay, right? So I show people how to keep people engaged within their virtual meetings.
I like that. How'd you get into this? Kind of what got you started on this? Is this something you've always wanted to do, or
Mm.
was it a happy accident?
Absolutely not. Happy accident, of course. And it just started because when we went through this rush of everyone going into virtual spaces like Zoom, and we had to learn these type of things, everyone jumped into it. And at first we were all like, well, we don't know what we're doing, so it's okay. As time went along, the expectations started to grow. Like, okay, we've been doing this for a while. You need to sound better. You need to perform better. And now we had to do presentations. So I went to tons of virtual meetings to try to learn summits, webinars, presentations, and they all had what I labeled as BPS, boring presentation syndrome. The moment that the host said, one moment, let me share my slides, was the end of it because it was just a slideshow. They were just reading. And myself, along with probably everyone else in there, said, this could have just been an email. So I ventured down that rabbit hole and I said, there's got to be a more interesting way to present our products or services in that virtual space. And that's how I ended up here.
Yeah, yeah. There's truth to that. There's definitely a need for people getting better at this part, having these conversations, and like you said, making something that couldn't just be in an email. Last thing you want to do is subject people to death by PowerPoint, right? It's the
Oh,
worst thing in the world. So,
yes.
so awesome. Well, what is it that you love about what you're doing now?
The transformation, right? To see someone who may have come into the space and they're like, I'm just petrified to be on camera. And then later on, I see them hosting their own event, or maybe I get a testimonial or an email saying, I just did this and I made this much, or I helped someone else get over the fear that I had 6 months ago, right? So that moment is like, yes, now it's a rinse, wash, and repeat. They get to share it with people, and I know it's going out to more people that can help them. So for me, ultimately, that's the best thing that that I feel about helping out with people.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can see why that would be your favorite. So you're an entrepreneur. You've been doing this for a while. You're getting good at it. You've had your ups and your downs and struggles like everybody else
Yeah.
does. What is some advice that you'd give to somebody else starting off as an entrepreneur? Some stuff that if you can go back in time and tell yourself, give yourself a heads up. What would that advice look like?
Mm. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me narrow it down to just a couple of things. Number one is start ugly. Start ugly. I don't care what someone tells you about analyzation by parallelization, that you need to get all the information before you start. Because let me tell you, you're going to take 3 to 5 months to learn everything. And guess what's happened? Technology and everything has passed you. And what you just learned is old. Start ugly. Grab a mentor. Grab someone who is in that space, who's doing what you want to do, and learn from them. Don't be afraid to ask questions and learn, because my saying that I want to tell you, and if nothing else you take from this, remember this: it is lonely at the top. It's lonelier at the laptop. If you are a solopreneur and you're trying to do this by yourself, you won't. Any successful person, and success has different definitions, but they will tell you they did not do it by themselves. So that's my little tidbit that I would give to someone just starting out.
No, that's fantastic advice. It's easy to get, like you said, paralyzed by overanalyzing things. Being willing to going out and making the mistake and embarrassing yourself because that's
Yeah.
just for a moment, and you're going to learn from it. That's a freebie, right? You didn't have to
Yes.
pay for that lesson; you learned it the hard way. So congrats
Yes.
on that. So yeah, no, fantastic advice. Just do the thing, because just like with everything else, you need reps.
Yeah.
If you were to go in the gym, you're not going to be benching the most in the gym as opposed to everybody else. It takes time at the bottom, in the middle, at the top. It takes reps.
Exactly.
So get out there
Yeah.
and do it. So awesome. What does your average client look like, or what are people that are, typically you're able to help the most, or what are some pain points that if people are going through XYZ, you're the person that they should be talking to?
Got it. Yeah. So when it comes to that, there's a different facet of it, right? Because what I do involves some technology, even though mostly what I teach is the persona of being on camera, right? How to position your body, right? Your facial structure, tonality, even things by using my hands in certain positions, right? I teach that mainly. But I would say the biggest pain point is people being afraid of technology. What if I press the wrong button? There's too much stuff on the screen or something like that. I may put up the wrong slide. So I think that's the biggest pain point. What it looks like for people who I love to work with the most and whom I help the most are people who are just go-getters, right? They're people who makes decisions and said, I'm going to do this. Even if it scares me, I'm going to do it. I can work with anyone like that as long as they're okay to saying, you know what, let me put in the effort. And I think that will suffice, right? At least they're putting that effort. So that's who I work with the best.
No, that's fantastic, because those people, yeah, they could use help, but they also need to not be overly, crazy about it. Like, what if I press the wrong button? It's going to be a little funny, right? Everybody out there is going to relate to you. I
Yeah.
always tell people, I just talk to people and get names wrong for a living at this point, right? All I do is butcher names. So yeah, absolutely. So what about power partners? What does your average power partner look like, or what are other industries or professionals that you synergize really well with, or you find collaboration with?
I love that question because one of my power partners I found out, would believe it or not, is the social media managers, right? Because they are trying to do the same thing I'm doing in essence, which is primarily getting their clients visibility. They're just really doing it more so in that social media world, whereas I am focusing more in a virtual live kind of world. So I found that we have the same agenda and we work well together, and it's not a big space where we're like, no, you're going to take my clients or so forth like that. And then also, as a virtual event host, I am in the process right now in a collaboration with another virtual host who's putting on a pop-up summit. And we're collaborating together, even though we do the same exact thing. It's a simple thing. Her people may gravitate towards her or her right fit clients because of her personality, whereas mine, I'm very direct. Some may say I'm abrasive, but I don't give you the fluff. I make sure you get the stuff, right? I don't want to sweeten it for you. Here it is. Do what you will with it. So that's who my power partners are that works best with me.
Okay. That's awesome to hear too, because a lot of people, they'll be like, well, I can't work with anybody because all my clients are my clients. And, having that abundance mindset, knowing that there's more than enough out there, there's people that you're going to be able to help better, that you're
Yeah.
going to be able to synergize with, that, if you were dealing with, the average kind of person that she deals with, you might not mesh very well. You might not be able to help them as well as she does, or they just might
Yeah.
not like you. It
You're
happens.
right.
People,
Right.
people are people. So that's awesome to hear. Yeah. That abundancy mindset's huge and more people need to have it. So, um, how can aspiring content creators use video to build their brand and audience?
Trust. That's it. Trust. Your face is your brand, right? People, I've heard the saying, and I push back on this. I've heard the saying, know, like, and trust. People know whether they want to buy from you within the first 3 to 5 seconds. They know, right? Now, if your product is a high ticket offer, then that takes a little bit more time. But my product, for example, let's just say is coffee. People know if they want to buy coffee or not. They just want to know if they can trust the brand to deliver it, if it's going to taste well, if it's going to perform well. That's what they need to know, right? So the more people see you, the more consistent you are, they know they can trust that you're going to show up every Thursday at whatever time it is that you say you're going to be on there. They're going to believe in you. So they get to ask questions to you. If they can contact you, especially if you're starting off small or a solopreneur, right? You need to build that trust in your brand so people can recommend you. Another pass it back. Another really quick thing I push back on is the referral system. Only because of this, in certain things, right? I go to an event, someone says, hey, we want to build referral partners. You and I are in the same kind of space. You're trying to sell your product. I'm trying to sell my product. 6 months down the road, you are not going to tell someone to come to me for my product because you're only thinking of yours unless I have built a continuing relationship with you. If you see me more often, if we talk more often, if we're in the same space more often, you're going to remember my face. You're going to put your name to trust telling someone about me. Not if we've only met once or twice. So that's what I would say. Your face needs to be out there more so people can trust you and believe in you and your brand.
That's fantastic advice. I don't care what it is you're doing. There's other people that are also doing it. So if there's a menu of options, what makes you stand out?
Yeah.
Well, your face, you being authentic, you showing up, and then like what you said with the people that you can collaborate with. Yeah, you kind of got to stay in touch. If you talk to somebody one time and then never talk to them again, they do that 10 times a day. They're
Yeah.
not going to remember you. That's so it's crazy to think. So
Yeah.
awesome. How can speakers and entrepreneurs create compelling video content that stands out?
Your story is your number one asset. I was looking at a post the other day, and I follow, for example, Pat Flynn. A lot of people familiar with him, and he said his biggest success is being able to tell stories. We see it often, we just don't translate it, right? Because when we watch a reality show, we watch a TV show that has singers, they always end up telling us someone's story. They went from this position where they were down to now they're the hero. So you can position yourself in that similar spot. You just need to learn how to do it in a cinematic way. I just simply use this line. I think people can picture this, right? Your intro, your pitch, whatever it is you're saying, your story is the trailer to invite them to come watch your movie, right? When we see a trailer, that makes us want to go to the theater and watch the movie. And sometimes what's in the trailer isn't in the movie. We're like, wait a second, that's not even in the movie, or this movie isn't good. But that trailer invited them to have a one-on-one with you, to sit down and learn more about your company because your story told them who you are and how you can benefit them.
Absolutely, and that goes there. The exact opposite of a PowerPoint, right?
Oh,
You can't really do that, right? A PowerPoint's a PowerPoint, a story's a story. One of those things work way better than the other, and it's not the PowerPoint. So,
yeah.
no, that's fantastic advice. And with the storytelling, how can mastering cinematography and editing improve the quality of your video storytelling?
You get to tell your story in the format that you want, right? So, for an example, when I'm doing my presentations, one of my biggest things I love to talk about is my son, right? He's my pride and joy. I incorporate him into that. And I get to now bring up pictures of him and I throughout maybe some years where now I'm using that to tell my story, but also it visually paints the picture in the people's minds who are watching it versus me just simply selling it. if they see a picture come up on screen when he's maybe got pie in the face, and I was like, there was this moment when my son tried to prank me, and he tried to put shaving cream on my hand and tickle me, and as soon as I went to go put it on my face, bam, it went into his. I'm taking them into that story. They can visualize it, but when they see the face come up on the screen with the pie in his face, then they go and laugh a little bit, which makes a bonding moment in for us in that space, right? So use those pictures, videos to incorporate it into your story.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic advice. Everybody can relate to that. That's authentic. That's being able to, kind of walk through somebody through that they can picture it, and then you show them the photo, and that's kind of the cherry on top. So,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, I know we could go into detail about all this stuff because there's so much here. We're just approaching the surface. We haven't even touched it or scratched it in the least. So, is there anything in general that I missed that you wanted to add, though?
You know, it all comes down to one thing that I share with people. Fear is the biggest killer of all of our dreams. It is. The one thing I'm going to say is whatever you're afraid of, it's okay to be afraid, but just don't let it cripple you, right? Mr. Miyagi said it best to Daniel-san. He said, must not let the fear. Karate, okay. Fear, no. So listen to Mr. Miyagi, right? He told Daniel-san, find a way to get over it or through the fear that you're going through. So that's probably the biggest thing, even if it's just baby steps, right? If you've got to record yourself 25 times before you put a video out, do that. But don't let that fear stop you from recording 24 videos, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Obviously, the only way to get through something is to get started on it, right?
Yeah,
Because it's like, hey, I wanna take a trip across the country, but I'm afraid to leave my house, right? You're never gonna get there.
right.
You have to take those steps. So,
Yeah.
no, that's fantastic advice. For those that want to know more, for those that have questions that want to go down these rabbit holes with you, how can they find you? Where can they get a hold of you?
My biggest space that I'm on currently is LinkedIn. You can find me there. My first and last name, Lion Fludd. It's across all my social medias. Simplest way to find me. Or my email, lionfludd at gmail.com. Simplest way.
Perfect. If anybody would like to get in touch with Lion, absolutely do it. I'm going to put all that in the show notes so it's super easy to find. Have that conversation, get better at telling stories, start to, get better at this. This is becoming a bigger and bigger part of our lives. We're meeting people all across the world. We're bringing people together in communities. We're having presentations. We're meeting people. Give up PowerPoint, right? Start doing it in a way that's authentic that people like and people want to come back. Because I can tell you, if I go into one of those meetings and it's just, well, next we have, I'm not
Oh,
coming back. I can tell you that right now. So don't
mm,
do it anymore.
yeah.
So have a conversation. But absolutely, if anybody would like to get a hold of me, you can find me at ikag.me, where you can find more episodes, subscribe to our newsletter, and connect with our growing community of awesome people like Lion. If you or somebody you know would like to be interviewed, you can also apply on the website. But Lion, I really appreciate you taking the time. I really appreciate what you're doing because the less bad presentations I have to see, the better. Right? It's
Yeah.
just genuinely improving the world. So I really love what you're doing. Let's all go out, have an awesome day, and grow our circle. All right.
Yeah. Absolutely.